Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and I hope that you're all getting ready for Black Cat because we have her trials just around the corner. We've also had some really great news come out today about who's going to be able to get shards for Black Cat. Now, this is a little bit of a departure from what we had going on in Nova's trial, so I do want to talk about this, and then in the second part of the video, I want to talk about all of the Black Cat trial packs, or scourges, or whatever you want to call them. I mean, they are packs, but a lot of people would kind of refer to them as scourges. And I want to tell you the best ones that I think that you should be using on this run, which is going to be starting just around the corner for this event. So if you're ready to go, everybody, then let's boil this down. So there was this blog post that came out this morning here called The Clarification of the Black Cat Trials. I think it was maybe just a couple of hours ago. And it was good timing because I was going to talk about Black Cat here today anyways, and glad this came out first before I decided to do my video. Anyways, the information in-game and the inbox messages that went out on Friday are correct. I mean, I clearly wasn't paying that close attention to the in-game messaging. I was just, I guess, based on what I had read previously on the blog, I just kind of went with that. But anyways, so to unlock Black Cat requires a minimum score of 550,000 to unlock her instantly at the 3-star level. I think this might be a little bit different than what the Horsemen's were at the time. But anyways, a minimum score of 450,000 will give enough character shards to unlock her in general, along with the ranked rewards, so this would be after payout. Scoring 1.35 million in the Black Cat Trials event will give enough character shards of Black Cat to unlock her and upgrade her to 4 stars. Now, that must be the 4-star in the, I think just through the milestones, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that's what it was for Nova. You also get the 1.35 million, if I'm not mistaken, is also where you're going to get the empowered abilities. Does Black Cat have empowered abilities? I guess she does, right? So, I mean, that's the same as in the Nova trials where you get those orbs, which are garbage anyways, but hey, you know, that's at the 1.35 million mark. The leaderboard for the Black Cat trial will require a minimum score of 100,000 to qualify. This is big because back in the Nova trial, and both for first and second pass of the Nova trial, you needed 400,000 to qualify. Why was this a problem? Well, that's because there was only about 80 to, well, maybe, I don't remember on the first pass, maybe it was like 90,000, 100,000, but for the second pass, it was around like 80,000 people who qualified that 400,000 mark for the leaderboard. This is a big problem because then the top 1 to 2%, for example, didn't exist because at least at 80,000, that's, you know, 800 per 1%, and I believe that there was like a ranking for like top 2,500 or something like that, and so technically like the first couple of percent never existed, so a lot of the ranks on the leaderboard were skipped. And so now that it's 100,000, which kind of goes back to what it was for the Horseman characters, now we should see a more I was going to say even, that's not the right word, the more positions really at the end of the day. And so hopefully 1% is more like 3,000. If we can get maybe 300,000 people, I don't know if we'll have 300,000 people participating. That's pretty much everyone, including the regular leaderboards, but maybe like 200,000 plus would be great, and so that would make it a lot better for those leaderboards where at least 1% is equal to, say, 2,000, for example, and so those rank positions will be available and obtainable in the leaderboard. So I'm looking forward to that, and that's a very big change. What I would like to see going forward, of course, would maybe this 100,000 be applying to future Nova Scourges, Nova trials. So at least you know that they'll backpedal a little bit on this and make it available for people for Nova going forward whenever he comes back around the next time. I think that would be really amazing if they did that, and very player friendly, because this is a good thing. And actually, I'm fairly happy with kind of the player friendly decisions that Scopely has been making, shockingly, over the last month or two. I think things have kind of headed in the right direction, so that's good there. So that's that. More people will be getting shards. Now, for those of you who aren't able to do difficulty 5, who maybe don't have Nowhere, don't have Nova, don't want to use Sinister 6 or whatever, then you'll still be able to get Black Cat shards. you'll still be able to get maybe, I don't know, 80 or 90. You probably won't unlock her even with the rank payout, but on the second pass you will for sure, especially since it's available at 100,000. And that's what people did in the Horseman Scourges as well, was that even if you were a low level player, like you were still able to do it in 2 passes because you could still qualify for the leaderboard if you cleared difficulty 1 in the entirety, and then you would still get, I don't know, like 40 shards payout, maybe 50 shards payout, and that way over the course of 2 events you would get them unlocked. So I think this is really great and a huge player-friendly decision. So kudos to them for doing this. I don't think the event is actually in... Oh, it is actually in the event window here for Black Cat. So yeah, we can see it here. We can check it out now as well. So hypothetically, like I said, the minimum rank payout, I should have had this up going at the same time, 30 shards minimum. If you could get 20 shards, which I guess would be like here, if you can get to 200,000 points, that would give you 20 shards plus the 30 bare minimum payout, and over the course of 2 events you would get her unlocked. So this is a pretty good change there. I don't know what difficulty that is. Maybe that's like difficulty 2 or 3. But regardless, anyways, that's a huge step forward. And the 1.3 million, which we can see down here, should be the same as Nova, I think. There's a lot of shards here. No, there is no orbs this time. That's interesting. So normally it would be like right around here. So 25, 45, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Yeah, so a 4-star is at 1.35 million. Maybe the orbs are in here? No, but there is a top 2,000 payout, and it's a 1 to 3%, not 1 to 2%. So hopefully this will actually be obtainable for people, assuming if, like I said, if we get 2,000 per 1%, then at least that 2 to 3% range will be available, and so that should be good there. And the other ones are to be expected, and you do get bonus shards, of course. So that's fine. Leaderboard is there. Let's take a look, though, at the Scourges. Trials, packs. I always get confused a little bit. It's just so used to saying Scourges. So you may have recognized this. I have done this for previous events. I did this for the Nova event as well. What's great about, well, better for worse, I mean, I guess depending on how you see it, there are less packs than there are Scourges. There was like something like 20 to 25 different Scourges for the first year, or for last year, for all the events, and now we're kind of down to like 10 to 11. I believe that Nova had 10, and then this one might have 11. Now, there's an 11th one listed here, but this is from the data mines, and I'm not sure if this is necessarily making it into the game. Now, I have them coded as easy, medium, and hard difficulty. And this is in my thoughts, based on what I've seen in previous events, and based on the types of points that you typically get. Now, I don't know until we actually see it, how many points they're worth, but, you know, usually there's a good idea of what the range is, and especially for some of these other ones. We'll start talking about Experimental Serum 2 and 3. So this is 20% health of enemies, max health, 20 and 30%. I'm usually not a big fan of these because usually they're not worth a lot of points. Now, if they are, I would not take both. I think 50% would be a lot. And it depends, obviously depends on how hard you're pushing. So I'm talking from a perspective of average players. And what I mean for average players, I mean like not people with like 1.5 million nowhere teams that are going to crush this, right? I'm talking about people that are more reasonable, maybe people around my level who are like, I don't know, gear, you know, have the roster, but late game players, but aren't looking to go super, super nuts. Depending on how many points they're worth, you know, you could pick up one of these. I actually would prefer to take some of these other ones and then just skip the hit points ones, just because I feel it makes it a lot easier to get through some of the nodes when they don't have plus 50% max health. And usually the points just aren't worth a squeeze in terms of what you're getting out of that. Now, Snake Eyes. This is a return from the Nova event. This was in Nova 2. On spawn, player characters gain increased critical hit chance, and enemy characters gain increased crit hit damage. Now, what's interesting about this one is it works on both sides of the field. Obviously, we get increased crit chance, they get increased crit damage. And so this on its own is not that difficult to deal with. However, this does actually go hand in hand with another one further down, which we'll talk about. World at War. This one is just a must-use, I think, if you're using... This doesn't matter if you're using Nowhere or Sinister 6. All war abilities are active during this run. This is for you to use for the Nowhere team and Nova and things like that. Now, it will be available on both sides of the field. So if there is, which I believe there probably is, going to be some Nowhere characters as enemies, You got to watch out for that. But, just like we needed to use the Cosmic Crucible one for Masters of Evil, I think this is going to be basically a required usage in order to get through those notes. That's just my opinions, and so you're probably going to use it anyways. It's not necessarily that it's an easy one. It's one that you'll just probably have to use. Sinister Symbiosis. On spawn, non-minion city villain characters gain the Sinister 6 trait. Now, for us, this means absolutely nothing. I don't think there's going to be any instance where any of this is going to work for us. And city bio hero characters gain the symbiote trait. Again, I don't think there's going to be very many instances based on the lanes where this is going to be of any value to us. That being said, overall, the Sinister 6 trait and the symbiote trait are not, as far as passives go, the only thing I can really think of is like the Carnage passive for symbiotes, where they get the turn bar if you're low hit points, that kind of thing, and how it's going to impact the enemies against us. And so I don't think this is going to be that hard. I think this next one, though, could be a little bit tougher. On spawn, Agents of Nowhere. On spawn, cosmic hero characters gain the Nowhere trait. So that right off the bat tells me that we are going to be dealing with cosmic hero characters and probably some Nowhere characters as well, where they're going to share passes. And Nowhere being the newer team, I think that this could be a lot more problematic than the above. And Invaders gain the shield trait. I don't know how much of a big deal that is. My guess is there's going to be a Nick Fury or some other shield characters. Is that, is the shield passes or things that work with shield that's going to work with Invaders, is that a huge deal? I mean, I don't personally think so. I think it's more that we're dealing with the Cosmic Hero Nowhere thing. I think that's where the difficulty is going to come. Brawl Room Blast. All Brawler characters gain additional crit hit damage, and all Blaster characters gain additional crit chance. So this is the one that's going to go hand in hand with Snake Eyes. So right off the bat, if you're using Snake Eyes, enemy characters get increased crit hit damage. So any enemy brawlers are going to get more crit hit damage. So on top of whatever this is, it doesn't even tell you how much they get. And all Blaster characters gain additional crit hit chance. Now this works for you as well, but it is going to work for the enemies. So any enemy blasters or brawlers are going to get all of this on top of this. So do keep that in mind. That being said, if you're going to choose one or the other, I think that Brawl Room Blast is the easier one, obviously, because it's more niche. It only works on Brawler and Blaster characters. That's it. There might be a handful of them, but it's not going to be as widespread as Snake Eyes, where all enemy characters gain increased crit hit to damage. So if you're trying to think of one or the other, I would choose Brawl Room Blast. Obviously, you can use both. Just keep that in mind. Second Wind. When any character drops to 50% health, they gain 2 ability energy for themselves. Now, this is you as well, and the enemy. But this is more likely to happen on the enemy, right? Because you're trying to kill them. You have to kill them. This might happen for you as well. So it's going to be a double-edged sword kind of thing. And I think that on harder levels, and especially probably the ones that are aimed at Nowhere in Sinister 6, this could be an issue, my guess, because that seems to be one of the harder lanes. I believe there's one other section that could be pretty tough as well. But yeah, this is one I would watch out for. This is one that you'll have to experiment both using with and without and see if it's really that difficult. It could have the potential of kind of, going back in your face if you're fighting like some really, really hard enemies and they get 2 ability energy. And that energy, I don't know, hypothetically, let's say like Dormammu or Apocalypse or something like that, and that's enough for them to like turn 1, blow you out of the water. Hired Help. Summon characters gain 20% max health. Pretty easy. I think you should make sure to turn that on. Self-preservation. At the start of any healer turn, barrier that for 5% of their max health. Easy. It doesn't even matter if there's a lot of healers. 5% is like nothing, especially if you don't have these ones on, or even if you do, this 5% is still probably nothing. So not really a big deal there. It is every turn though, but still 5% is just not a lot. On the offensive. Now this is the one that may or may not make it. Whenever a character applies heal block to an enemy, presumably this is you applying heal block to an enemy. It could be them as well. We would be the enemy in this case. Heal self for 15% of their max health. On the surface, this also doesn't sound that bad, but if it's an AoE heal block, that's pretty much like a full heal. Like if there's 5 of you, that's going to be like 75%, maybe more if there's summons. 75% of they're basically getting a full heal if it's an AoE heal block. Now, I'm thinking like Mordo. I don't know how many characters do AoE heal block, but that's just one off the top of my head that usually shows up as an enemy. So there could be others, of course, and so I don't know if we'll actually get that one or not. We'll have to wait and see in game. And some of the ones that I wanted to show with the notes, zoom out a little bit, probably a lot of things that I really just talked about, honestly. So Snake Eyes works on all characters. World at War necessary for Nowhere Sinister 6. Sinister Symbiosis intended for the enemies, not the players. Agents of Nowhere worse than Sinister Symbiosis. Brawl Room Blast more niche than Snake Eyes. Second Wind is both sides, so be careful of that. And Hired Help, both sides, but probably not a huge deal. I don't know if we have any summon characters, but maybe for Doc Ock, if you're using on the Sinister Six Nowhere section, very underwhelming, and both sides as well for on the offensive. So far, it honestly doesn't look that bad. I say that now, and there's obviously going to be a video of me going through this on my first run, and that's going to be starting tomorrow. So hopefully we'll all have a lot of fun. And at the very least, though, a lot of people are going to get more rewards for Black Cat than they did for Nova, and I'm looking very much forward to this, and it being a very more player-friendly event. So that's it for just now, everyone. And until next time, till tomorrow, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon, signing out.